Are you ready to become awesomer? Hello, everyone. My name is Umar Hamid. I'm your host on the No Limit Selling podcast, where industry leaders share their tips, strategy, and advice on how you can become better, stronger, faster. Just before we get started, I've got a question for you. Do you have a negative voice inside your head? We all do, right? I'm going to help you remove that voice in under 30 days guaranteed. Not only remove it, but transform it. So instead of the voice that sabotages you, there's one that propels you to much higher levels of performance and success. There's a link in the show notes. Click on it to find out more. All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the No Limit Selling podcast. Today, we're going to be talking to Rich Lewis in Ottawa, Canada, the capital of this fine country. We're going to talk real estate and how to become better, stronger, faster in this amazing occupation, profession. Rich, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Omar.
So what's a nice boy like you doing an industry like this? When did you first enter real estate and when did you become an agent?
My journey started basically investing in real estate. That's something I started probably in 2013. And I always had a little passion for real estate in a sense when it comes to investing and kind of building wealth that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I got started into the business. And selling real estate, I've only been selling real estate for under 5 years. So selling it hasn't been too long, but I feel like I started on a good note, and it's been great. I can't complain.
How many transactions the first year?
First year, I did just under 30. I did like 28.
Holy cow, you're a rock star.
Yeah, it was all right. It was a good start. And then in my second year, it kind of took off with about 46 transactions, and it's been going well. Yeah, it's been going well.
We were interviewing someone I was interviewing someone on the show last year, and him and no other agents, just staff to back him up. 500 transactions a year. It's like I'm not sure
That's
if I ever
crazy.
slept. It's like pretty crazy.
That's insane. That's insane. Because I've only I just recently had a partner join me because I've been solo the whole time. So that's a lot of work. I appreciate that. That's a lot of work.
So getting a partner, that is sometimes a better considered decision than getting a spouse. People think long and hard before you get a business partner. So tell me, what was going on that made you think about getting a partner? And then we'll talk about the criteria you used to select one. So what was going on that made you think I need a partner?
Sure. Basically, I realized real quick that it's not something I can do on my own, and I can't be in two places at the same time. So as work started getting busier,
That's negative thinking, dude. Can't be
yeah,
places at the same time. Sorry, you were saying. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Sometimes negative thoughts creep in my mind, I guess. So it was something that I always kind of planned on doing down the road. I just wasn't sure when was the right time. And as you know, the right time is always when you're thinking about it, you're already past it. So you kind of have to act. So once I started getting a little busier, and I found, okay, I need someone to come in with me, but I also wanted someone that's very close to my brand and something that's going to represent a good, I guess you can say, image or reputation. So when he works with clients, we're all on the same page and we're all giving the same service.
Brilliant.
So it wasn't easy. Like you said, it does take time to find the right person to fit that criteria. And that's why I was holding off for a very long time. But Lyman is someone that just joined me, and he's a good friend of mine that I've known for a very long time, which helped a lot the situation. And I decided to basically partner up with him and bring him on board.
All right. So did you have an admin person before that?
No, I do not, and I still don't. So that's my next hire would be an admin person. I've been doing all my paperwork on my own, which in a way was good because I get to learn a lot and I know how to do it myself.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I got to, I guess you can say, learn the admin side of things. Now, I am lucky at my brokerage. We do have an admin that kind of helps out with that kind of stuff if I do need them to help out, which they do.
Nice.
So no, I don't have an admin yet, but that's definitely on my list of next up to the next hire, basically.
So we've interviewed a lot of people on this show. And one piece of advice all the leaders have given is get staff sooner than you think. People wait too
Hmm.
long before they go there because ultimately, at the end of the day, there's only a certain percentage of your time that is income producing. And if you're not customer facing and deal closing, that it is a waste of your time doing the other stuff. So good for you getting a partner. It's more unusual than most people get the admin first, but it's easier to
Hmm.
get the right admin for two people and makes it more cost effective as well.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you. You're completely right. And it's funny I said I was listening to a podcast this week, which kind of pushed me a little bit towards looking into that sooner than later. But the good part is I do have my partner does do all the buying and the rentals, and I focus a lot on the listings. And that's kind of the situation we have right now. At the same time, he's learning how to do the paperwork as well because he is
Nice.
new. So I'm getting a little bit of best of both worlds at right now, but I am definitely looking to someone to get that, like you said, the non-producing stuff out of the way.
Okay, so here's some if you're not doing this, do this 100% for sure. Is that you're training your new partner on some of these, some of the paperwork, some of the other stuff.
Yes.
Uh, get a screen sharing program so when you're actually showing them how to do the paperwork, you're capturing it on how you
Okay.
want to do it because the next person that comes on board, rather than you doing it one on one, there'll be a series of videos that you've already done that they can review those, start doing those, and then you need to spend 10% of your time making sure they get it as opposed to recreating the whole thing again. So take this as an opportunity to create resources for Lewis Inc. And also it gets you to be a lot more uh, focused when you're teaching because you know it's being captured on video. And so it's just a great resource. So don't waste the time you're investing right now. Capture it. So as you guys both grow, you can use these tools to train people in how you guys do real estate.
Actually, that's I like that a lot. That's actually a great idea. That's awesome.
All right, brilliant. So real estate, in some regards, is a pretty simple business. But in other regards, it's really tough. Like the toughest thing is, our own mindset that gets in the way of us performing at the level we want. And also it's we're dealing with humans, buyers,
Mhm.
sellers, loan officers, and that brings that other equation into it. So tough in that sense. Uh, so, what are some of the areas that realtors around you and maybe you still have challenges with? Like, what if we were picking five topics that if we could teach realtors how to do these five things flawlessly, that it would make this industry a lot better? Like, what are the areas of challenge, do you think?
I do feel this industry is very obviously the reputation. A lot of people think that the realtors have a bad reputation. We're car salesmen, glorified car salesmen, and pushy salespeople. At the end of the day, I do believe that everything is kind of somewhat of a sale, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to negotiating, you negotiate everything, even if you have kids, you negotiate
Oh,
them.
you need to learn
You
from your
know,
kids because they're way better than
yeah,
you. Because they
yeah,
know
yeah,
go to
exactly.
mom or dad and what tone of voice and what do I need to say to get the yes
Hmm.
that I want, baby. And if that doesn't
Exactly,
work, I'm gonna throw
exactly.
myself on the floor and scream and yell. But
Exactly. You're not wrong. So I do believe maybe that part of the aspect of people maybe learn sales a little better, maybe understand what goes through someone's mind when it comes to selling, less about what you say.
mhm.
Because you can sell a lot of things without even saying too much, right? If you listen and you just pay attention a little more, it's
Mm.
easier to kind of provide something and sell something. Um, I do believe that's one of them. When it comes to organization, I do believe some realtors are all over the place trying to do 15 things at once. Maybe narrow it down and, like you said, get some help and kind of organize I guess, their work better. That could be something I do see
Mm.
a lot of real estate agents could, potentially have help with. Other than those two, like you said, mindset is huge because this business is really, I've noticed pretty quick. You can get very dark and lonely. It's a lonely business when you're working and you're trying to be a high producer.
Yeah. And so what's kind of interesting is when things are going well for you, you see the world differently, you show up
Hmm.
differently, and more good things happen. But if things turn sideways, then you're looking at the world through darker lenses and you end up finding darker things, and it can spiral up or it can spiral down. It's all about what's happening in here.
I agree, and it's definitely hard sometimes for some people. If you're having a few bad months, one of the hardest job of this business is to stay in business. So
So mindset is crucial, right? Yeah.
oh, it's I think it's everything. It's not. I believe it's literally everything. You have to have the right mindset, and you have to be patient.
Hold that thought for a second. This is a sponsor. We'll be right back. If you're ready to let go of anxiety, let go of uncertainty, let go of doubt, Mindset Boosters gives you the ability to decide how you act and feel in any situation. Ready to take charge of your mindset? Go to mindsetboosters.com. So, Rich, I'm just reading this book about Winston Churchill, his first year in office, and the war had started like literally as he comes into office. Germany has almost invaded, taken over France. They're about to basically give up. And so it's that first year of his prime ministership. And
Hmm.
one of the things that came out of the book was Goering was the guy in charge of the air campaign from the German side of things. And he was a fighter ace from a previous generation. So his strategies on how to actually do dogfights and how to conduct a campaign were old school, and everything's progressed. And because that was his belief, he kept Germany in this old way of doing things. And had they actually listened to their fighter pilots, they would have been much better off, and we'd all be speaking German now. But so it's all mindset, right? That's we do
It
what
is.
we know. And so what do you do right now to keep a positive mindset? Because you need to inoculate yourself, because if you're not feeding positive stuff in there, you let negative stuff come in. So what are you doing right now to stay in the zone?
It's a great question. I do a lot, and to be honest, I meditate, I work out, and I do a lot of stuff that ground me, and those are my outlet that I kind of recharge so I can stay positive. So I always start my morning with a workout. That's something that's a non-negotiable.
Me too.
Not non-negotiable. So I start there, and it keeps me sharp when my mind is clear and it's sharp for the day. I do meditate. I don't take too much time on that. I'll probably do maybe 5-10 minutes a day just to kind of ground myself and be, grateful for everything I have and kind of, put some positive, you know, thoughts in my head before the day starts. And I look at everything with a positive lens. I know it sounds super cliche, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of positives. You just have to kind of make sure that you're not sitting and reminiscing with all the negative, and just kind of face it and deal with it and push it to the side and kind of move forward. So
Brilliant advice. And I'm just going to add to that. Uh, Bad shit's going to happen to you, Rich. Already has, probably.
yeah, all the
And
time. Yeah.
we're like humans. So here is something that I heard, which is like just like mind blowing. It's like really asking the question, what is the gift in this defeat? And if you look at what went wrong, then you kind of stay in the wrong. But if you look at what's the gift that came out of this, and almost always there's a gift in there if you can just see it. And that is the way to transcend what's happening, is to go, oh, this is forcing me to focus on what's the most productive thing I can do. That other project that was a side project failed. This is a gift getting me to refocus. And that
Mhm.
just gives you a direction to go in, and it gives you the energy to get going in that direction. You don't have to like get up and do a sprint because maybe you don't feel that way, but finding the right direction, getting up and taking the first step is all you need to get unstuck and start moving in the right direction.
Yes, I agree. And to be for what you said there, not every day is gonna be a great day, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You just have to acknowledge that that's okay, but like don't make it a bad week just because you had a one bad day. Just like you said, you can always learn. If something happens to you, there's a reason, and there's always a lesson there. If you can just take a little bit of that, accept that you know what stuff happens, and kind of learn from it and move on. Less the thing is, it's less things are not okay. Less bad things are not going to keep happening to you. You're just going to know how to deal with them better, and that's all it is. As you age and as you experience life, is you just deal with things better.
So I'm gonna challenge you there. All the great advice is if you come out from a workout tomorrow morning
Hmm.
and somebody cuts you off in traffic, the chance of you overreacting on this thing, is going to be a lot less than if you didn't have a workout and you're like, I freaking didn't get a workout. I had a bad morning. And then it's like, it becomes bigger. And I think, you perceive them less, but I also think there's this attraction thing. So I'm not like, think positive thoughts, positive things happen, but think positive thoughts. You start searching the universe for positive things. And instead of going this way, you go that way. So you end up getting more of those coming your way. Do you think that's just a notion, or do you think there's some truth to that?
I think there's some truth to that. I do believe that.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't believe like you just get lucky for no reason. I think there's a reason why people that are quote unquote lucky, they work hard. They always put themselves in an opportunity to when they receive it, which they're more prepared to kind of handle it. And I do believe there's truth to that. Yeah.
I heard this quote once, success is all about luck. Ask any failure.
That's actually pretty good.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd like to share with you and the listeners is some of the things we're talking about. Let's say they're bullshit and they're lies, but I'm a firm believer in this concept of useful lies. So if you think about some of the things that Einstein talked about and his theories, some of them have been proven to be absolutely true. Some of them not so much, but they still allowed us to invent cell phones. So if you thought that, hey, me finding the gift in this bad thing happened, what's the gift? Even if that wasn't true, is it useful? And the answer is yes. And so it's all about finding useful things that allow you to show up more powerfully so you can be more of service to the people that you work with, Rich, and that I work with. And so tell me about a time where things went south for you, Rich, as an agent, and what you did to turn these things around and kind of because, everyone can talk about, I'm amazing and I'm successful. What people really want to know is, holy crap, things were going sideways, and this is what I did to right the ship, because that's advice they can use right away. Do you have one of those stories where you got an epiphany and it kind of changed things around?
Yeah, I mean, okay, when you're dealing with people and emotions and a lot of transactions in a sense of like, they're not small transaction, and it's important to show up in a certain way for some people. So I had a client that basically, let's just say that the transaction went through, but towards the end, they decided to change their mind, and they're like, I don't want to sell. And this is after everything was signed, after everything, and I was kind of like, okay, well, this is kind of not how it works, but there's ways that you can figure this out. So that day was a pretty tough day because that sale was basically an 8-month process that we were going through. Yeah, it was long, and there's a lot of ups and downs. And the thing is, at the end of the day, you have to always remind the people why they're doing what they're doing. So, for example, the specific person wanted to sell to move on to something better. So there's a lot of negatives that were kind of like, regrets, I guess you could say. But at the end of the day, when we hone it down and have a conversation, why we're doing this, look at at the result that you want, what you want to achieve. And it kind of made them think, you know what, you're right. I overreacted. Maybe when you're dealing with people's emotions, it's kind of hard to, you can't tell people how to feel, and you can't force people to do something, right? So it's one of those things that you have to kind of it was hard for me to sit back and kind of just be like, you know what, this might not happen, and it is what it is. But as long as I guide them in the right direction, they can do the right decision. It is what it is. And the decision they make, if it's right for them, then it's right for me.
And what happened with that decision? What did they decide to do?
So they decided at the end of the day, they decided to sell the home after talking to their lawyer, after talking to me, after talking to their family. They did finally decide to sell the home. Now they did get I won't lie here, they did get a little bit of, they had to pay a little bit of issues because we went over a certain deadlines and stuff like that. So it did cost them a little bit of money. But to be fair, they needed that time to realize, and they needed maybe a little slap on the wrist to realize, okay, you know what, this is the right thing to do. Let's move forward.
So Rich, in the grand scheme of things, you don't need an agent to sell your property, but when shit goes sideways, if you've got somebody that's an expert by your side, it makes that hiccup so much easier. And the reason to get the agent is to A, avoid those, and B, if it goes sideways, if you've got like a uh, a grounded professional to help you navigate that is crucial. And so that's what you did for this client. And another example is it was agent I was interviewing, and one of the things they told me was it was their first deal, and the buyers had wanted to go for this house and not go for the house that was more expensive, and he forced them to buy the most expensive one, the more expensive one. And at closing, the wife took him aside and said, John, I just want to thank you so much for
Mm,
helping us get the house we truly want, as opposed to trying to save $20,000. Because in the grand scheme of things, although this transaction is scary, is I thank you, my family thank you for doing that. And that only
mhm.
comes from trust and expertise, because you're not going to force anybody to buy something, but he really framed it in a way that they understood that, hey, it's better to pay the extra and get what we truly want, as opposed to every day kind of go, wish we would have
Yeah.
got the other one. And that's what we
Well,
do. And that's why it's a good job to get them, is when you need them, they're there with expertise and advice and resources that you wouldn't have by yourself.
that's true. That's true. I'm actually dealing with something right now. It's very similar to this. My client want to quote unquote, they want to buy a house outside the city, but they're not. They're very city people, and
Hmm.
I'm trying to tell them, guys, this is not. This is an hour away. This is far. Do you truly want to? Is this what you want? Yes, yes, yes. So we drove up there a few times. I made them drive up there a few times, just to kind of realize like how far this is, and
Drive
it's
at
just a
4 o'clock in the afternoon, middle of
yeah,
rush
yeah.
hour.
And they're like, you know what, Rich, you're right. Maybe I'll spend a little more and stay in the city. But at the end of the day, I'm just the type. I stand by my clients. If they want something specific, I'll do my best to get it done. But at the end of the day, they're the boss, right? I'm just here for the
Absolutely. A
ride.
trusted advisor helping them do that. And I think it's interesting how you did that, because you could really say, it's going to be an hour commute. Do you really want to do this? It's like, no, drive it, experience it, and then let me know what you think. And I think that's critical. So, Rich, before we part company, what's one piece of advice you want to give new agents? You've been in the business 5 years. What's something you wish you knew when you first started that would have let you be even more successful than you were?
Um, Something I wish I knew is maybe it's not everything has to get done immediately. Okay, and because people think they come in day one and they're like, oh my God, I don't have clients. I don't have a deal yet. I don't have this. I don't have to. Everything takes a little bit of time. And it's okay that it takes a little bit of time. And I do want to like emphasize patience is key in this business. So if
Mm,
you are starting, just be patient, but put in the work every day that is required. It's like the gym, right? You put in work every day at the gym. You're not going to see results every day. You're going to see it down the road 30 days later, but you have to put in those 30 days. So it's the same thing with this business. I come into work even when I don't have work. I come into work because I have to put in those little amount of work every day to eventually, it will lead to something. So just be patient and put in the work that's sometimes not the easiest thing to do.
absolutely. Rich, thank you so much for being on the program. It was executable advice that's really going to help a lot of people. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Stay on the show for a moment. So we'll do like the little after show. If you enjoyed this episode, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. And if you're looking for more tools, go to my website at nolimitselling.com. I've got a free mind training course there that's going to teach you some insights from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, and that is the fastest way to get better results. So, Rich, thank you for being on the show. What did you like about the interview, and what could have been better?
Um, I'll be honest, like there's nothing I feel like could have been better. I think you did a great job. I think the whole presentation is great. Um, I did like I'm a very casual person, so I do
Nice.
like to have conversation. I just hope it was a little bit what you were looking for.
No, it was great. It
But
was like two
but
guys
but
talking.
yeah, yeah. I'm just no. I think it was great. I think it was great. I really appreciate you having me on. It was awesome. I listened to a few of yours in the past before I got on, and I was kind of a little bit. I was like, man, these are big names that are on here that are very successful people, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
And I
So
think, and more voices, because having someone like you, that's, it's a great track record, been a few years. You've got a lens looking at this business that would be different from theirs. And
Mhm.
so perspective is like a key element in success and leadership. And
Yeah.
thanks for being on the show. Let me end the broadcast and we'll still talk for a few minutes.